Hey everyone, welcome to my new office. Yes, for now on, I'm going to be doing all my reviews in this room. I'm not. No, this is just temporary. I'll be doing some reviews here and there in this case. From now on, I think I'm going to go back and forth with it. I'll be still doing reviews in my old office, but here I'm going to go ahead and decide to go ahead and spend some time doing some other reviews in this new one. It's not really an office, but still. This is a nice, comfortable area to do reviews also, so I figured I might as well go ahead and take some time doing them here. Anyway, let's just get to the movie. How many of you people grew up with this film called Tron? Because I sure as hell didn't. Not because Tron is unpopular or completely bad. No, it's just because I just didn't grow up with it. I grew up with some things and other things I didn't grow up with. I've watched some things, other things I don't watch. Now, Tron is a movie I have watched, but not at the age you'd expect me to watch it. You think someone young like me, who's white also, I talk about a lot about how much I love action and excitement, science fiction, and Tron has all that. So you'd think that I would watch Tron as a kid, but I didn't. No. I didn't watch Tron until, I don't know, I was 15 or so. I saw it and I watched it, and that was the age I watched it. And truth be told, I probably would have been more impressed with it if I watched it yet as a child, but I didn't. So, yeah, when I first watched the movie Tron from 1982, I was mildly impressed. I saw the movie, I thought it was good, I thought it had an interesting story. The idea of getting trapped in a video game where you become an icon in this CGI environment, and with how much CGI was in the 80s, it seemed like it'd be pretty revolutionary. Surprisingly, though, I wouldn't say it was. Tron seemed like the kind of movie that would be revolutionary, be up there with films like Star Wars, Roger Rabbit, or Jurassic Park as changing animation in a way. But I didn't really see it as that. It was a good movie. It was fun. But it wasn't necessarily ahead of its time, I would say. I feel like that was kind of a cheating thing to call it. And that was one of the main reasons I was ready to watch it. I thought that maybe that's what it was for, but not really. It had its small CGI bits, but overall it was just still a simple arc story with interesting effects that when you watch it now, you definitely will see them as dated. It's not one of those timeless films like Jurassic Park or whatever. But regardless, I do still recommend watching it if you're into action and science fiction movies like I am. It's still worth a watch. So Tron was a Disney movie also, and it got a sequel in 2010. It was a Long Legacy sequel. That one was not as good in my opinion, but it was still decent enough. It had more action. The effects were definitely better. Then again, at the same time, they were also worse in some parts. But overall, it still was fun enough to watch. So yeah, the Tron sequel is also worth watching. It has the same type of science fiction action love as the first movie. But now let's see what happens if we get a third Tron movie. And thus, we finally have a third Tron movie. Now, in 2025, in the wake of AI being a much bigger thing than it was back then, we now have a third Tron movie that likes to utilize that whole villainous gimmick of AI taking over the world or whatever, and it's just go ahead and embrace it for the story. Because why not? What better time to make a Tron movie than now? And now we have another Tron movie called Tron Ares. I think it was Ares, right? Yeah, I think that's what it was called. Tron Ares is the third Tron movie, and it had a few things going for it to make it hype, but also a few things going for it to make it not hype. For the hype, we have cool looking effects, this cool new red detail, like the first Tron movies went with a nice blue structure. This one's all red. It's a Sith movie. Those were Jedi films. This is a Sith film. The new red design to it was nice. The story looked pretty nice. We had new music from this electric rock band called 9 Inch Nails, which I will be honest, don't listen to that much, but I am aware of and do know how acclaimed they are with their electro pop style music. So it makes sense that they would be the band for this movie, and thus it seemed like it'd be fun to watch. However, I heard a lot of people criticizing it because Jared Leto was in it. Jared Leto was in Morbius. Everyone loves to make fun of Morbius. So now we're going to make fun of this movie. I don't know. Honestly, I feel like that's the only thing I've heard people complain about with this film. The fact that Jared Leto's in it. Not even because they saw how bad his acting looked. It's just because he's in it. And Jared Leto was in other bad movies. I mean, I won't say I disagree with that because I think he's a great actor. It's just kind of overdoing it with that, aren't we? Anywho, as someone who did watch the other two Tron movies, someone who's just loves action and science fiction as a whole, that's the reason I saw this movie. I didn't see it because I was an ultra super Tron fan. I'm not, but I do still love action and sci-fi films, and Tron has it, so that's what I wanted to go see. And those are really the only two genres with this film we should talk about, but also, of course, with another we'll get at some point. Let's talk about the action in this movie, the adventure this film has, and of course, the science fiction there is to it. Now, for action, let me just say about the action in this movie. You could call this controversial, but then again, I don't know how big Tron is for this to really upset that many people. This movie has probably the best action sequences out of all three films. I know, that's pretty rough to say. A movie with someone who made Morbius memes popular has the best action out of all the Tron films. But let me just say this right now. I feel like that's because they actually took time in this one to embrace the action. The other two movies took time to embrace the effects. This one, with how usual the effects are in making movies, I feel like it's nice that they're kind of more embracing with action scenes, because we do see more exciting stuff with these Tron characters. The other two movies just kind of were like, look, CGI, ooh, and yeah, this movie does that too, but with some fun movements to it as well. I mean, obviously it can't all be real movements, that had to be green screen and whatnot, but it's still fun to watch. For example, there's a scene where we get to see the Tron motorbike chase through the highway, and apparently they have this blade that goes behind it, and we actually see it cut open cars. That was pretty badass. I'm gonna be honest. That was actually pretty damn badass to watch. I don't think that was something the other Tron movies had, nor do I think it was something the other Tron movies thought of. And the movie also features a lot more fighting with humans. The other movies focused on all the fighting that they could do in their virtual world, so it was mostly, you can definitely tell how much CGI there was. But since this movie takes place in the real world more, we get to see more of that real life action. Again, it's not actually, I can't say that I'm saying that the action in this movie looked practical. It really didn't, in a way. You can tell that they were just green screen CGI, but at the same time, you could still buy into it. And that's what I like. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just, if you're a super diehard Tron fan, then maybe this will upset you. Or maybe you agree with me. Because I just think the action in this movie worked better than the other two movies, because it was embraced more, because they didn't waste the action on just showing off how cool their visual effects are. They showed it while keeping the idea of visual effects. It's just what I think. Alright, so what's adventure does this movie go for? Well, in ties to the story, it's pretty much with world building. Now, when we talk about how movie franchises out there like to do world building, usually that world building means, coming up with new stories and new ideas for our characters. Like, as more movies are being made with these franchises, the term world building is just new stories, new characters for new films. With the Tron movies, however, when I'm talking about how much more world building they do in this movie, I literally mean world building. These movies really do like to build more into their world. It's like trying to add more extra stuff with the world of Tron. The first Tron movie was just a simple arcade game that had guys on bikes chasing each other and such. A second Tron movie had this big Matrix-like environment where you could do physical fighting in it and such. This movie has them taking all their Tron action into the real world and pretty much showing everyone in the real world what kind of crazy shit goes on in video games. We've seen movies that have video games enter the real world before, hint that one Adam Sandler film, but this time it's Tron. It's Tron. It's a big, red, dark, scary-looking game. They make it scary looking in this, and seeing all these new crazy, scary things come into this real world is pretty fun to watch. I guess maybe the world of Tron isn't the scariest setting, but it is still pretty frightening compared to more harmless games you would want in your world. Like, when you think of wanting to see video games come to your world, you'd say Minecraft, Mario, Pac-Man, I don't know, some simple, fun games. But Tron, it's not even a real-life game. It's just but it's you can tell how intense it is. So when you see Tron characters enter the real world, when you see all this stuff happen around, they pretty much just go around hiding, and there are still moments where we get to see them inside the Tron world too. So it's like the Tron world is still there, but at the same time not there as much as you'd expect. Most of it takes place in the real world with the Tron characters entering it. And that's what the adventure of this movie is. It's fun to watch. It's basic, yeah, maybe it's a little obvious. Ooh, they're entering our world. What an excitement, you would argue, but I still think it was fun to see. It's a nice, fun new take for this Tron world. Maybe not a new take in the overall world of science fiction, but for Tron, it is a new kind of idea. Alright, so let's go with the science fiction aspect. That being how this world building goes. It's, like I mentioned, that's basically it's pretty simple stuff, just adding new things. Because, like, really, there's only nothing that much is new. The only new things added with the Tron world is the red colors instead of the blue colors, and everything is able to come into real life. To be fair, though, that's kind of it. I don't hate it. It was fun. But for those who are expecting a hell of a lot more new things to see from this Tron world, that's really it. It's just all of them entering our world. Now, there is this big ship that's pretty cool to look at, but it's nothing different from what we've seen in the previous Tron film. It's definitely different from what we've seen back in the first Tron movie, but it makes more sense to talk about how this compares to the last Tron movie from 2010, since that one is modern too, and yeah, that one had time for more CGI things, so it's probably the best way to compare this movie. Regardless though, even though really the only science fiction aspect is seeing how much of this crazy Tron nonsense can happen in real life, it's still fun. It's maybe not incredibly unique or incredibly shocking, as that gimmick kind of goes on throughout the entire movie, but they play it out fine enough, and I guess I can appreciate that. I mean, they play it out, they're able to play out the whole, all these characters in our world. That's really the only thing that happened throughout the entire runtime of the film, but it still is a joy to watch. So it may not be a great take of sci-fi adventure, but it's still a watchable one. So that's what I'll call it. The science fiction and adventure this movie has is not great, but it's watchable. And I'll take that for what it is. Okay, so what's this movie got going for it story-wise? Well, I pretty much stated it already. Characters, they're entering our world. But let's go ahead and analyze it more and more. I'm not going to talk about this movie's script entirely. I'll just go simply with what follows. The company that created Tron, I forgot the name of already, wants to expand its world by basically calling it off of AI. The word AI is used numerous times in this movie, and it's pretty much just become a new term nowadays. So, yeah, any movie that follows AI is going to use that word as much as they want, because, yeah, it's just a new part of a vocabulary in speech. They want to expand it by bringing the characters to our world, showing off their cool technology they had for the game, and trying to make it a part of society. So they use it with an example called Ares. That is where Jared Leto comes in. He is the creation they're bringing to life. A character from the Tron world named Ares, who is Jared Leto. And this might sound weird, but Jared Leto's acting in this movie was actually not that bad. And I think it's probably because he was playing an AI character. That's kind of sad when I call it. It's kind of rude to say that. Jared Leto's acting works because he's playing an AI character. I mean, I don't want to be rude to him that much, but at the same time, for all the people who complain about this movie because Jared Leto's in it and they don't think he's a good actor, in this movie with the character he's playing, it works. So that's for all you Jared Leto haters to know. If you may not want to like Jared Leto's acting, but the kind of character he's playing will fit with the acting he has. He's not playing a depressed scientist or a crazy clown. Remember when he was Joker? Yeah. Ugh. No, he's playing a computer-generated person who's coming into our world. And for that matter, he plays it pretty fine. It's not his all-time best role. Then again, if it was, that's not saying much nowadays. Okay, he had some good roles. Let me not go that far. But for I gotta say, I did like the performance he gave. Okay, it's not an Oscar worthy performance, but it was a better performance than what many people are trying to prove to me. Anyway, yeah, he's in our world now, along with a couple of other Tron characters that come in as well. But apparently, they seem to switch sides. Now, Ares has become self aware of society, so now he's just wanting to separate himself from the others. And thus, he meets this other chick who comes across with him as he apparently needs to figure out the code for, I guess, trying to get him into life. I think that's what it was. So they embark on a crazy adventure to try and find the code so he can escape this Tron world that the creator's trying to give him. And thus he wants to become a human, I suppose, too. Like, he wants to be a real boy. he's Pinocchio, and this chick he meets is supposed to be his blue fairy, maybe. Anyway, they go on this adventure, such, and then they end up getting chased by the other Tron people who have pretty much chased him throughout this journey. And then eventually, at one point, Ares gets stuck in the Tron world for a bit of his own little advice. That advice coming from none other than Jeff Bridges. Yes, Jeff Bridges is in this movie because, of course, he is, because he was the main character of the first Tron movie, and he showed up in the second movie in the worst de-aging I've ever seen. I'm just going to say that right now. The de-aging of Jeff Bridges in Tron Legacy was pretty bad. But in this movie, they don't de-age him. They make him as old as he can be. He's just an old man now. Yeah, he still remembers the old days when Disney was able to build Tron in a cave with a box of scraps. I'm sorry. I know Jeff Bridges in many things. Anyway, yes, he's there in the world of Tron. He's like the ruler of that world or whatever. As he talks to Ares, gives him a little encouragement. And then he returns to the human world, where they fight back against the evil Trons. I guess that's just what I'm going to call him. And after defeated, what happens to Ares? What does he do? Well, he continues to live on in the human world, but with a broken identity. He decides not to have an identity, not let many people know about him, just live in the human world in his own way. Just act like a regular human without getting too big of a person, not letting too many people know about him. That's kind of what it is. He just wants to spend his life as a human that isn't incredibly popular. So that's the story this movie has to follow. It is, again, maybe not perfect. You could argue that there's some bugs here and there. A few cheesy lines, granted. Jared Leto did have some cheesy lines. Like, in the scene where he's talking with Jeff Bridges, there's actually a moment where he's talking about how he loves Depeche Mode or whatever. He loves 80s pop music. And they're like, I just love 80s pop music, man. It's so good. I'll admit, that was probably his cheesy moments, but it's not that bad. It doesn't last too long, and they do try to make it tie in with his character more. But it's ironic, because Depeche Mode also has a sort of a electro type of thing to it. It'd be epic if he was saying how much he loves Nine Inch Nails, since they're composing this movie. Or maybe how much he loves Daft Punk, because they composed the last movie, and they're also a very popular electro pop band. Anyway, that was a little cheesy, but cheesy dialogue aside, that's kind of really the only thing going for this story. The cheesy dialogue. Like, the creator of Tron, he's pretty cheesy too. His dialogue is kind of silly at times. He's kind of playing off as that silly creator. But, I mean, thankfully he's not the worst. Those are really the only problems with the story, the cheesy dialogue. Other than that, it isn't awful. It doesn't take up too much of the story. The story itself plays out fine. So, I'm going to be honest. I think the way the story works, it makes it a pretty damn good Tron movie. And in all due respect, I think Tron Ares is actually very good. Yeah, I really like this movie. Did I love it? No. Was it amazing? Absolutely not. Is it one of the best science fiction movies of the year? Well, maybe not. There's more coming out. I have to look back at what science fiction movies were this year and see. But anywho, I still think Tron Ares is a pretty good movie. Is it the best of all the Tron movies? I think it's probably like tapped with the first Tron as number one. The first Tron is the first best Tron movie. The third one, this one, would probably be second, like very close though, like by just a little bit, I feel like. And Tron Legacy third, like right here. I'll be honest, I didn't think Tron Legacy was that great. It was decent, but I don't know. Tron Ares, I will give lots of praise for. Despite its corny dialogue, despite the sort of lousiness you'd expect for the adventure at some points, it's still pretty good for what it's worth. I give it a nice 7 out of 10. It has great action, some pretty good adventure and science fiction to it, a pretty good acceptable story, and all that does tie in together with a nice fun action film that does tie into my love, the kind of love I have for some movies. I'm trying to be a movie critic, yet I'm still over here gushing about how much I love seeing action and science fiction in films. A guy who loves movies, you expect me to be like, oh, this Alfred Hitchcock or this Martin Scorsese, they're masterpieces, and I can talk about that. But I still love action sci-fi. So anytime one of those kind of films come out, there's a pretty big chance I'm going to want to see it. So next time a new big science fiction or action film comes out, I'll be there to watch it and review it. And so, there I give you my review of the possibly box office failure as it looks right now. But at the same time, hopefully it doesn't do that. Hopefully Tron Ares does well. I mean, if it doesn't do well, I guess it's not a giant loss. I guess I wouldn't be too upset. But I do think more and more people should give this a chance. Just because Jared Leto is in it doesn't mean you have to just be like that. Okay, he's Jared Leto. Okay, yes, he's had his fair share of flaws, but come on, there's other things to this movie you can look forward with. All I'm hearing people complain about is Jared Leto's in it. Maybe if there's something else people are complaining about that I'm missing, I can look at that. But for now, in my book, this movie was pretty good, and I give it a chance to watch. If you love science fiction like I do, you should give this movie a watch. I wouldn't let Morbius memes stop you from seeing this movie. That's just my thought.